हाँ मारा, यस, चलिए।
मुक्ता मुक्तानां परमागति नारसम ही सुजन्मा च त्रिवर्ग फलदायिनी धर्मदा धनदा चैका कामदा मोक्षदा मोक्षदा ये कामदा मोक्षदाय
ये नहीं होना चाहिए,
मोक्षदायी नहीं होना चाहिए। ये
हम्म,
मोक्ष ज्ञाति लिखा
कामदा
है।
मोक्षदाय
हाँ,
मोक्षदायी
मोक्षदा,
धुति ही,
मोक्षदा द्युति ही,
देती,
हाँ धुति ही,
ठीक है।
धुति है।
अच्छा अच्छा। साक्षिणी क्षणदा दक्षा दक्ष जाकोट रूपेणी ऋतुकात्यायनी स्वच्छा स्वच्छंदा च कवि प्रेया सत्यागम बहिष्ठा च सत्यागम बहिष्ठा च
काव्य शक्ति,
काव्य शक्ति कवित्वदा मीना पुत्री सती माता मैनाक भगनी तड़ित सौदामिनी सुदामा च सुदाम दामशालिनी दामशालिनी सौभाग्ये दायिश्च सुभगा द्युतिवर्धिनी श्रीकृत्य वसन्ना चैव
कंका
कलिनाशिनी रक्त बीज वदो द्रप्ता सुतंतुर्बीज संतति जगत जीवा जगत बीजा जगत्रिय हितेशिनी चामी कर रुचि चांद्री साक्षिया षोडशी कला यत् पदानुबंधाच
यक्षिणी धंधा चिरता
चित्रिणी
चित्रमाया च
विचित्रा
विचित्रा
भुवनेश्वरी
भुवनेश्वरी
चामुंडा
मुंडहस्ता च चंडमुंडवधोद्वरा
अष्टमी
मे
द्वादशी पूर्णा
नवमी च चतुर्दशी अमा
बस इतना ही करेंगे।
अमाकल
पूर्ण कुंभधरा
अबीरो भैरवी बीरा बीमा बैरे मारुंडा च रौद्री च महाभैरव पूजेता निर्मुंडा हस्तनी चंडा कराल दशनानना कराला विकराला च गुरनादेनी रक्त दंतोर्दवी केशी च बंदूक कुसुमारोना कादंबरी पटासा च काश्मीरी कुकुम प्रेया ख्यांतिर्बहु सुवर्णा च रतिर्बहु सुवर्णता पतंगे वराहा मतमाता हिंसा हंस गतिर्हंसी हंस जल शरोरोहा पूर्णचंद्र मुखी श्यामा समित्या शम कुंडला लेखा प्रिया शंखनी शंखस्ता जल देवता कुरुक्षेत्रावनी
काशी
काशी
मथुरा
मथुरा कांची अवंतिका कांची अवंतिका।
ओके चलिए ठीक है, हमारा इतना करेंगे। वी विल गो बैक टू
मुक्ता नाम परमागति।
हाँ एक मिनट। हाँ
यही
तो मुक्ता
मुक्ता नाम
हाँ
परमागति।
The next nama is Mukta, one who is ever released, one who is in the state of freedom. The word Mukta comes from the dhatu or the root word much, to be released. So the moment we say to be released, we have to also see, there are certain terminologies to understand whose meaning we will require polar entities. So if you have to say someone is released, you got to know from where. So that akanksha will already be there. No, that anticipation in order to complete the understanding of the meaning. So when we refer to Devi as Mukta, free, in what context are we referring to Devi as Mukta? Because the same word, if it were to be applicable for Pashus like us, then we can say one who is free from the earlier misconception of he identifying himself as a Pashu. So he is free from that misconception. And the state of being established in oneself is his Nija Avastha or his Swarupa Avastha. So in that way, we can call a person Mukta, or we can refer to that state as Mukti. Whereas when we refer to Devi as Mukta, from where is she released? From what is she released? With reference to Devi, Mukta is free from any or free from any constraints or any restraints because of the Paripurna Swatantra Shakti that she enjoys. She is not bound by any fetters. So this is how we have to understand the difference between the term Mukta being applicable to a person, to a Pashu, and to Devi. For a Pashu, he has experienced the state of bondage, and then we are referring to the realized state, okay, in relation to that. Whereas in reference to Devi, it is not being that she was earlier in that particular state of constraint and now she is free from it. It means that because of her Paripurna Swatantriya, any restraint will not be or will not condition her any times. So she is ever free. Okay, she is ever free.
Ever free.
In that sense, she is Mukta. Not that earlier she was Baddha, now she is Mukta. As in the case when we apply it to a Pashu. So, one who, because of her Paripurna Swatantriya, is not bound by any of the limiting adjuncts. And once again, it is she, when she descends by her own free will, assumes the wheels, assumes the Kanchukas. So it is something coming from her internal choice. Assuming the Kanchukas is from her internal choice. She is not following any niyati. No, there is no factor which binds her. So she, in her state of being a Shakti, or Shiva and Shakti, the first two Tattva elements, she is beyond the Kanchukas. She is beyond the realm of Maya. Therefore, she is Mukta. She is ever free.
Ever free.
Then the next nama, Muktanam Paramagatihi. One who is the supreme abode of those who have realized. Mukta, one who is a realized person, the liberated person. Okay. Paramagatihi. The Parama, the supreme or the highest Gati, destination or the place, okay,
Highest.
where they find refuge. The highest refuge of the liberated ones. Muktanam Paramagati. So when we are referring to Devi as Muktanam Parama Gatihi, it is the re-establishment of oneself in his own Swarupa is only Mukti in our Siddhanta. Our Siddhanta does not recognize Mukti to be a state of Sarupya, Salokya, etc., as explained in the other Agama traditions such as the Pancharatra and others, wherein going and living in Vaikuntha, in presence of the Devata there, itself is treated as a form of a Mukti. They recognize 4 levels of Mukti. Salokya means going and living in that place, such as Vaikuntha. Okay? Samipya, you may live in that place, but are you in proximity to the Devata? So that is the next higher stage than Salokya, which is Samipya. Then you have Sarupya. You will have the same form as the Devata. As in the case of Vaishnava Pancharatra, the person who has attained this 3rd stage of Mukti, okay, which is Sarupya, he will also have Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma in his hands. So that will be his form. With 4 hands, the same Pitambara and all that. Sayujya is merging into the Devata, yet maintaining the difference. Merging is not complete unity there. It is merging, yet maintaining the difference, and that is explained as, let's say, a glass of water wherein you are having the drops of water, and even though from outside it looks like a glass of water, if you were to break it down to its component, a hydrogen component is separate from the oxygen component, though you are not able to see it there. So it is one, yet it is maintaining its individuality. So this is referred to in those sampradayas as Anga Angi Bhav. Just as the Angas are part of Angi, yet they are distinct. For example, my finger is part of my hand, yet my finger is different from my hand. My hand is a part of my body, yet my hand is different from my body. Similarly, in that Sayujya also, that Bheda is maintained. So these kind of Bhedas in the Mukti is recognized by other systems, whereas our system, the Mukti, that is why the term Mukti is loosely used. Okay. It is a state of being established in oneself. Swarupa avasthitihi. Okay, that is the highest state. Swarupa avasthiti means being oneself, being as oneself without any limitation. Therefore, enjoying that full glory of the 5-fold powers. Since at that stage there is no Bheda, what we are now calling as Shiva and Shakti, and what happens to the person who has realized himself, he will also realize himself only as Shiva and Shakti. Therefore, she is that supreme abode of all those who have reached this highest destination, Paramagati. Interestingly, in all these namas, we have seen that no word has been introduced without a purpose. So let us see whether the same nama would make sense if you were to remove the word Parama. Muktanam Gatihi. The abode of the Muktas. Yes, it is making the very same sense, right? So what is the intent behind introducing the word Parama by Shiva while bringing out this particular Sahasranama? So, because it is revealed by Shiva himself, we know that every pada is sarthaka. Okay, it has a purpose and it is conveying something. For this, we have to refer to the Shiva Sutras, especially the last 3-4 sutras of the first section, which is speaking about how a Jivan Mukta or how a yogi conducts and how he behaves in the world, okay, after reaching that supreme state. So there, whenever he is identifying or merging himself with that Swatantra Shakti, he is able to manifest the various siddhis or various powers. At times when he does not, yet he is in the very same, he is engaging himself in the worldly activity. Okay, yet you will see him behaving like any other ordinary human being. Only difference is the way he will be seeing the world is different. When he is identifying himself with the Shakti, the Swatantra Shakti there, the process and everything is described in Shiva Sutra, how he will be able to do it. When he does that, then he gets the powers to create new bodies, bring things together, okay, separate things, when Vishwa Sanghata, all these he can do. So that is also the gati of a Jivan Mukta. Okay, that is also something that the Jivan Mukta performs in special cases, in rare cases. All those instances that we read or hear about such muktas, okay, which we cannot explain normally, is explained by the Shiva Sutra because of that merging with the, or that identification at that particular point with the Swatantra Shakti. So that is also something that the Jivan Muktas do. But that is not the Paramagati. Okay, Paramagati is when there is a complete cessation and there is a complete union and complete non-difference, including shedding this mortal body. Okay, then that is the Paramagati. So that is why the term Parama has been introduced in this Nama to differentiate between how the Jivan Mukta conducts himself post-realization, yet maintaining the Sharira, and what happens after he sheds his Sharira. So Muktanam Paramagati refers to that state where he is completely free, not even, okay, confined to the Sharira. Okay, so that is the highest state referred to here. So Muktanam
Paramagati. Narasimhi.
Narasimhi. The Shakti of Nrsimha is Narasimhi. So in the Saptashati, we come across the Saptamata or Ashta, whatever. Narasimhi is one of the Matas there. Okay. So she is the power of Nrsimha. And Narasimha or Nrsimha, both variants are found in the Sanskritam. Is a composite structure between, or a composite form of human and the lion. Nara and Simha. Okay. So in this composite form, the Nara and Simha, okay, that combination is reflected in the head being that of the lion and the body being that of the human. And we all know whether from the Leelas of Nrsimha as a Devata or as Narasimhi in the Saptashati and others, it was for the Daitya Nashana. Okay. So the main function of Narasimhi or Nrsimha is Shatru Samhara. is for the destruction of the enemies. So that is something that we can normally understand from the word Narasimhi. But at the Adhyatma level, what does it mean? The word Simha, in Sanskrit, it is explained as a juxtapositioned word. Juxtaposition means where the letters are interchanged. Okay. Say, for example, Kashyapa. That's the name of the Rishi. We are all very familiar with that name. Kashyapa. The word Kashyapa, how do we explain or how do we derive the word Kashyapa in Sanskrit? Because he was always lost in meditation, and since he would be or he was engaged in seeing how he could be the progenitor of life on the earth as a result of coming out of that meditation. So he was able to see, okay, he was able to devise plans. Pashyaka, pash means to see, okay. Pashyaka, the seer. Pashyaka becomes Kashyapa. Okay, so this is the juxtapositioning of Ka and Pa. So Kashyapa is referring to his nature of one who is the seer. And we all know Kashyapa as a Prajapati is the progenitor of all form of life, not just the human. Whether it is the Nagas, whether it is the Asuras, whether it is the Daityas, whether it is the avians, that is the birds, everything. From the various wives, Kashyapa Prajapati created all these life forms. So his name is a juxtaposition of the word Pashyaka. Similarly, Simha comes from the dhatu hims. So from himsa, the word Simha comes. Himsa, we know violence, right? So Simha, because of its extreme ferocious and violent nature, okay, it was called as Simha. So calling Devi as Narasimhi means one who violently removes the bhava of being a Nara. So in the Shaiva Siddhanta, this distinction between Nara and Ishvara, okay, is a very important subject. When we study about Pati, Pashu, Pasha, okay, that Pasha element, let's forget, there are actually only two entities, because Pasha is not a third independent entity, okay, and these two also are actually one, but from the state of identification, they are referred to as two. So there were separate treatises written to discuss this nature of the two. For example, Bhattashri Ramakanta, one of the earliest writers from Kashmir, he wrote a text by name Nareshwara Viveka. So Nara, Ishvara, Viveka. Okay, so discrimination between the Nara and Ishvara. Okay, coming to this Nama. So Nara is the state of being a Nara. Simha, act of violence. So Devi who removes violently the form or the identification of the Nara Bhava. She is Narasimhi. So the next doubt that we may have in our mind is, why violently? Violently is used here because at times when, say for example, there is a, okay, you want to pluck and remove certain weeds from your fields. Certain weeds are have very, very shallow roots. If certain other weeds have very deep roots, okay, the tap root kind of thing. If they have if the roots have run very deep into the ground, to remove that, it will take one swift, strong action to pull it out. Okay. Similarly, this misconceived or misconception that is there, it has been there for so many countless janmas. So at times when the Viveka doesn't work, when the Vairagya doesn't work, she uses, or because of her grace, she employs certain device by which we are shaken from that feeling of this misconceived identity. And that happens in a flash. Okay. So that is the act of violence that is being referred to here, not the act of any physical violence. Not sure if many of us would have actually read the story of Tulsidas, right? So uh, there was a transformation that happened in the life of Tulsidas. After his marriage, he was so infatuated with his wife. One day, the wife had gone away to her father's house, which was on the other side of the river Ganga. Okay, so in the night, Tulsidas was so filled with the pangs of love and separation that he could not simply resist or control himself. He jumped into the river. The current of the water was very fast. He caught hold of what he thought was a log of wood. He swam across, came, jumped the walls, and reached his wife's chambers. By the time he did, it was almost daybreak. The wife was surprised and she asks, "What is the state that you have come in?" And he explained everything. And there are multiple versions. One version that I have come across is that she comes out and shows him that that which you considered log was a corpse floating in the bank. And she says, had you put in an iota of this love to the Lord, he would have helped you cross this samsara. That one vakya, that one sentence that came from the mouth of his wife, whom he considered to be the highest, okay, or his dearest, shook him to his grounds, and from there started his spiritual journey. So, some of us may require that kind of shaking from our uh, beliefs, okay? Because we are so deeply entrenched in our beliefs that we believe all that we are seeing is true. Since she brings that transformation in us, she is called as Narasimhi. It is in the very same sense. The essence of the same nama is captured in the in another nama, Chandi. Because the word Chandi also comes from the dhatu chadi kope. Okay, kopa, anger. So there also it is explained in the very similar lines by Bhaskar Rai in his Vyakhya. So Narasimhi is one who removes the Pashubhava or the Narabhava
violently.
By shaking our misconceptions violently. So she is Narasimhi. The next nama,
Sujanma.
Sujanma. It's a wonderful name. Sujanma, normally good birth. Okay. But how do we call Devi who has no birth? How do we call Devi Sujanma? Because she has no birth. Okay. Two ways of explaining. Whenever she had to manifest or incarnate, be it as Sati or be it as Parvati, she was born to parents who were highly virtuous. So she was born in such a nobility, family which is filled with such nobility. Therefore, she is Sujanma. Okay, but this artha is there is no swarasya in this artha. Okay, because she is choosing, right? Unlike our birth, wherein we don't have the say as to where we are going to be born, she chooses where she will be born. So they say for all of us, it is prasava. I'm sure this word is common across India. Prasava means
Birth.
giving birth, right? So we are all born as a result of prasava, whereas when an avatara is born, it is a result of pravesha. Pravesha means entering. So they choose and enter the womb, or they choose their parents to whom they are going to be. The Devata chooses the parent, okay, and therefore it is pravesha. But the real essence of Dama Sujanma is when we split the word as Sujanma. Su refers to that which is noble. Okay? Su, Sad, all these prefixes, all these upasargas in Sanskrit, they refer to that which is good, that which is noble. So we say Suvachana, good words. Okay, Suvakya. Okay, Supushpa, good flowers. Similarly, Su means something which is good. What can be the highest good? Because good and bad, from the worldly perspectives, are relative terms. What may be good in one instance may not be the same. Okay. So classifying something as good or bad in the world is purely from a particular perspective. Whereas, what is that which goes beyond such perceptual differences? Is there a good which is beyond such perceptual differences, which is the highest state of nobility? We say the highest state of nobility is Shiva himself. That is why he is Shambhu. He is Shankara. He is Shiva, the cause of all nobility, the cause of all auspiciousness. He is Shambhu, from where all the nobilities and auspiciousness are born. So the highest good is Shiva. Sujanma, one who is born from Shiva is Sujanma. Once again, here the word birth is not generative in nature, non-existing and coming into existence at another point of time. No. Here Janma means that which is established and which comes from it. So, from the hierarchical perspective, when we look at the tattvas, after Shiva Tattva, the reason we enumerate Shakti Tattva is for a simple reason that when the desire to manifest occurs, then the Tattvatita becomes Shiva, and for the desire to fruition, okay, that reflection becomes the Shakti. So Shiva comes before Shakti in that sense only, even though they are inseparable single entities. So born from Shiva is in this hierarchical sense, wherein the Vimarshana takes place after the Prakasha decides to manifest into many. So she is called as Sujanma, one who is born from the that supreme prakasha, that supreme light of consciousness, which is Shiva himself. Therefore she is Sujanma.
Trivarga Phaldaini.
Trivarga Phala Dayini. Trivarga Dharma Artha Kama. Phala result. Dayini, one who gives. So, one who gives the result of the three vargas. Okay, the Dharma, Artha, and Kama. There is a term there in between called Phala. Trivarga Phala Dayini. Okay. So to understand this, and subsequently there are 4 more namas. Okay. Which is Dharmada.
Dhanada.
Dhanada.
Dhanada Chaika.
Dhanada, Dharmada. Sorry.
Dharmada, Dhanada, Chaika.
After
Chaika.
that,
Dharmada,
Dhanada.
Dhanada, Dhanada, Chaika. This is right here. Yeah, correct.
then there is then Kamada and Mokshada.
Kamda, Mokshada.
Mokshada. Yes, exactly.
So we are having Dharmada, Dhanada, Kamada, Mokshada.
Duty.
Okay. So 4 namas separately enlisted. And here, this nama is calling, or this nama says, Trivarga Phala Dayini. Okay, one who gives the result of the 3 vargas. So 3 vargas once again here also is Dharma, Artha, and Kama. Is it repetitive? No. For this, we have to understand the process. The Agama Siddhanta, even in the Darshana also it is the same. The karma which we perform. Okay. Now, the karma generates a particular result. And this generation of the result is inherently or proportionately dependent on the karma itself. And it does not require any other entity's interference. Say, for example, I am performing some act. I am helping someone. Or I am hurting someone. The act of helping generates a result. Okay? Tentatively, let us call it as Punya. Punya 1. I also hurt someone. So the act of hurting is generating a result which, let me say, is Papa or Papa 1. And in a hurry, we try to always, because we are trying to seek sanction from the West for all our belief system. The law of karma is immediately equated with the 3rd law of motion of Newton. Any action has equal and an opposite reaction. So, if there is an karma, it will generate its result. But is this punya and papa becoming or fruitioning immediately after the karma is performed? We see that in most of the cases, it is not. In a few, yes. In most, not. I perform 1000 papa karmas and I am generating papa 1 to papa 1000. I am performing around 200 punya karmas. I am generating punya 1 to punya 200. These are not attaining fruition immediately. The fruitioning happens at some other point of time. Okay? That some other point of time maybe this janma or in any other janma. Right? So between the action, the generation of the result, and the enjoyment or the suffering, okay, of the consequence, there is a gap. So we say these punya and the papa, they become like a samskara in us, which are embedded in our sukshma sharir. Fine. Till that it is okay. Now, the big question comes. How is the decision taken for when a person should enjoy punya and when he should enjoy papa? It is my punya, it is my papa, there is no doubt about it. But when do I enjoy or suffer? Who decides? Now the question will automatically come on in mind, why should someone decide? The thing is, someone has to decide because punya and papa are not sentient. They are insentient. They cannot choose when they should come and they should fruition. The punya cannot decide that, okay, now I am going to go and give results to this person. Or a papa cannot choose that now I am going to go and make this person suffer. This is where we introduce the concept of Ishvara being that entity who dispenses the punya and the papa phala. So Ishvara is introduced by the agamas and others as the dispenser of punya and papa phala. Because he is an conscious entity, he dispenses punya papa. So the entire labha of practicing bhakti and others, the highest supreme thing apart from the Laukika point of view, the practice of bhakti, the practice of other, this thing is so that you get punya or papa when you need it the most or when you can withstand the papa most. If as a result of one papa karma, I have to lose 1,000 rupees. If it comes when I have only 1,000 rupees in my pocket, then the impact is going to be felt by me more than when it happens when I am having 10,000 rupees in my pocket. So we say it is here that the bhakti plays a part wherein through the grace of Ishvara, one gets the punya or papa when he needs it the most, papa when he can bear it, when he can forbear. So the concept of Ishvara as a dispenser of punya papa is thus established in the darshanas and in the agamas. So we have to introduce between the punya generation and the fruitioning, the Ishvara as the dispenser of the punya karma phala and papa karma phala. So in the first nama, Trivarga Phala Dayini, we are referring to Devi as one who is the dispenser of the punya and the papa karmas phala. That is why the word phala is also there. Okay. So then how do we differentiate this nama from the other 4 namas? The next nama, Dharmada, the same logic we have to apply to Dhanada also for the Kamada as well as for the Mokshada also, is not referring to the result of Dharma, result of Kama, result of Dhana. It is referring to Devi facilitating Dhana or Dharma or Artha to this person. So when we call Devi as Dharmada, she is bestowing that ability in a person to perform dharma. This also we have seen that the grace of Ishvara always operates in a manner that the man is endowed or the person is endowed with the right choice of action to be made at that particular time. So one of the verses, it explains that how does God protect us? It says not how a shepherd would protect or how a cowherd would protect the herd of sheep or the cows with holding a stick in the hand, okay, by driving away the other unwanted predators and others. So, na devaha dandamadaya rakshanti pashupalavatu. Devaha, the deities, do not protect just as a shepherd or a cowherd would protect the herd with the stick in the hand. Then how? Yam tu rakshitum icchanti. If they wish to protect someone, buddhya samyojayantitam. They give him the right, or they help him choose or make the right decision, take the right choice of action. No, sadbuddhi pradhan karna. That's exactly what it is. And that would be sufficient for a person to come out of whatever difficulty he is in. So the next four nama is this facilitation in or which is done by Devi for a person to acquire dharma. So the choice he makes, the choice of action that will result in dharma, is provided by Devi. Therefore, she is Dharmada. The choice which she bestows upon him, by which he is able to generate wealth, therefore she is called as Dhanada. Similarly, the choice for the right enjoyment, the dharmika enjoyment, therefore she is Kamada. And similarly, Mokshada also. So this is how we differentiate these three now. This Trivarga Phaladayini as the dispenser of the result of the act, and the Dharmada, Dhanada, Kamada, and Mokshada as one who bestows the right thinking in the person's mind in order to perform that act. Once he performs the act, once again, she is the one who is going to dispense the result also. So the four namas is that which will lead to Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And this Trivarga Phaladayini as a nama is that which happens after the threefold acts have been performed. Why Trivarga, not Chaturvarga? The fourth Varga Phala has already been described earlier. Muktanam Paramagati. So Trivarga Phaladayini, Dharmada, Dhanada, Kamada, and Mokshada.
Mokshada. Dyuti.
Dyutihi. Dyuti is that which one who shines. Okay? The light, the supreme light. Any of the, even the Itihasa Purana Granthas, the supreme state of Devata is described as that of light. For the matter, the word Deva itself means one who shines, Div, to shine. Okay, so they are shining beings. So, Dyuti, the light of all. And in Saptashati, we have this Mahalakshmi Avirbhava, which happens in the second Charitra, wherein we say all the Devas, from the body of all the Devas, a light emerged, and that converged, Tejas Punjas Samudbhavat. Okay, it converged into a ball of fire or ball of light, and from there, Devi emerged. So Devi is that supreme Prakasha also. Now, the Saptashati says that from Sarvadeva Sharirajam Tejaha Tatcha Aikyam Samagachata. All the Tejas, the light from the bodies of all the other devas, it converged, and from there Devi, okay, emerged. Even though the narration is that way, the understanding, okay, or how we should understand in the Vyakhya, the way we have to understand is that devas are all on borrowed existence. The original source is Devi. The original source is Devi, and from there, the different, okay, streaks of light are these different devas. So she is the origin, they are the evolutes. So this has to be the understanding, even though the narration is the other way around. Okay, so when we call Devi as Dyutihi, she is that supreme light of awareness, which is the substratum for all existence. So she is Dyutihi. She is that supreme light.
Sakshini.
Sakshi.
Nama?
Sakshini.
Sakshini is the feminine form of Sakshi. Sakshi means witness. Now, certain namas we have to be very clear, because these terms have now become very understood very loosely.
Common, yeah.
For example, Sakshi Chaitanyam. Sakshi Chaitanya as a term has become so popular, especially with so many books and so many classes and so many lectures being
Online
delivered from
lectures.
the point of view of Vedanta. Okay, when we understand Sakshi Chaitanya, what is intended there is very different from what we understand by the word Sakshi in our system. There, Sakshi Chaitanya is that passive entity. Okay, it is Sakshi Bhuta. It is a mere witness, non-participating witness is Sakshi Chaitanya there. Whereas in our system, Shiva or Shakti, whatever, Shiva is a participating consciousness.
Participating, yeah.
He participates. That is why the concept of Spanda is there. He vibrates, he participates, he is there everywhere. It is the same Shiva who is Prithvi also. So he is not cut off. He is not aloof, but he is all. So Sakshi in our system means one who is the substratum, one who participates, yet one who is unaffected. Not being affected is that, so parallelly he is Tattvamaya and he is also Tattva Atita. That Tattva Atita stage is the Sakshi Chaitanya. So he is both participatory in the process, yet he is unaffected by it. So that state of being unaffected is what has to be understood by the word Sakshi. So by calling Devi as Sakshini, she is witnessing the entire play, okay, of manifestation. The cycles of manifestations, which is having twofold process of evolution and involution. So in Lalita Sahasranama, we have one nama there also. Maheshwara Mahakalpa Mahatandava Sakshini. Maheshwara Mahakalpa Mahatandava Sakshini. By Maheshwara, at the end of all the kalpas, when he performs the Mahatandava, she is the witness. She is the witness. It is interesting from the Shaiva Agama perspective. that when from the at the Shuddha Vidya level, there is a manifestation of Shiva, okay, who is Swachhanda Bhairava. At the Shuddha Vidya level, he becomes Shrikantha Rudra.
Right.
Shrikantha Rudra assumes the fivefold form of Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, okay, Sada Ishvara and Sadashiva.
Dashu.
Okay, these are the five who are responsible for Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Tirodhana and Anugraha.
Anugraha.
So Brahma, Vishnu, Srishti, Sthiti.
Hmm.
Samhara is given to Rudra.
Hmm.
Rudra, Ishvara, Sadashiva are direct amshas of Srikantha Rudra himself. That is very interestingly, the Acharyas explain why. They say, look, Samhara is the most important Kritya. That is why Acharya Kshamaraja also starts the Pratibhijna Hridaya to explain these fivefold acts. He starts with the Samhara Avastha only. Okay, then he goes back. He does not start with Srishti in the explanation, because that's how you can explain. For Samhara to take place, he should be there when the Srishti and Sthiti is taking place. What is Samhara? Withdrawing everything, which means Brahma, Vishnu are also withdrawn into Rudra, and he stays there for the Anugraha and for the next cycle of Srishti to take place. So that entity which remains throughout is Rudra. That is why, as a manifestation of his own Amsha, Srikantha Rudra manifested this Rudra as the Samhara Devata. So Samhara is considered to be one of the most noblest Krityas in the Shaiva Siddhanta. Because for a person who is performing Samhara, he has to be there at the time of Srishti, at the time of Sthiti, and after Samhara also. It is in him that the other two are already merging at the time of, when the next Kalpa, another Brahma, Vishnu will be created. So, Maheshwara Mahakalpa Mahatandava Sakshini, at the end of every Kalpa, when the Mahatandava, Tandava is nothing but the act of Samhara. When the act of Samharanam taking, what is the meaning of Samhara? Samhara does not mean destroy. Samhara means samkhru, bringing everything back into oneself. Assimilating it back is called as Samhara. This is the etymological meaning of the word Samhara. That is why if you have to braid your hair, no, the loose hair, if you have to tie them together and all those things, it is called as Veni Samhara. Okay? So there it is not definitely meaning cutting or not destroying your hair. It means bringing them together.
Right.
All right? Samharana means to bring it together. Okay? Assimilating it. So Samharanam is assimilating everything back to its causal state, to its Karanavastha. So she is that Sakshi, that playful witness of Maheshwara performing the Mahatandava at the end of each of the Kalpa. And it says she enjoys this. That is why it is Tandava. No, it's not merely it's a dance. A dance is something where you
entertain.
No? So you are a participative this thing there, not a passive witness. So Sakshini, one who is there, who participates yet is unaffected. The Tattvatita state of Shiva is Sakshi. So she is Sakshini.
Sakshini.
Shanada.
We'll continue this next
Sure.
class.
Right. Sure, Shekharji. We will stop here. We'll continue next Sunday.
Yes.
Thank you, Shekharji.
Thank you, sir. Thank
For
you.
now.
Thank you, Shekharji. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. Namaskar.